In this episode of the Hill Country Podcast, I visit with Wynita Yancy, Kerrville transplant and Chief Marketing Officer at the Hill Country
Hello,
Youth
everyone.
Ranch.
This is Tom Fox back for another episode. And today I'm thrilled to have Wynita Yancy. She is the Director of Marketing at the Texas Hill Country Youth Ranch. Wynita, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me today.
Thank you. You have a great voice. It's a great podcast voice. So
It is lots of
practice.
podcasts. You are, first of all, can you tell us your professional?
Yes. So I went to undergraduate school at DePaul University in Chicago and studied honors marketing. And so right after college, I worked for Forbes and Condé Nast in digital advertising, which was huge because back then it was like .com was just becoming something. I told Andrew I think I'm a little older than him, so it's before your time. But I learned digital advertising that way very organically because that was the beginning of it all. And then from there went transition into financial services. So went to work at a hedge fund, Citadel, and private equity. So really just pivoted. And I had some agency work in there as well for ad agencies. So really diverse background in marketing. I just naturally understand people and business. So it's been really fun.
What's your current role?
I cover marketing for Hill Country Youth Ranch. And so, as many people know, our founder, Gary, has retired from administrative duties in 2019. So, we have a new director, Crystal Ramsey, who is just doing awesome. And so, really, with her vision and leadership, we're transitioning the organization to really, I think, connect the philanthropic needs to the. We really want to expand that to people who don't know about the Youth Ranch.
What is the Hill Country Youth Ranch?
Great question. It is a nonprofit that supports children in the foster care program. So we can do long-term placements at the ranch. We can do short-term. We can help people get adopted, youth get adopted. Really just supporting the foster care system with highly traumatized and the more severe cases. Because of our ranch style living, we high touch therapists, psychiatrists that really help kids transition to normal basic care living.
How did the Youth Ranch get started in this part of Texas?
It's a great question. So Gary Prio, our founder, was from Kerrville. And essentially he had gone to Harvard, got his degree, and was doing a variety of things. He became a single parent of his son, Michael Prio, and essentially was raising his son by himself and organically created a daycare system at their house. He was doing things in the day and then at night was watching his son and other kids. And one day, one little girl's mom didn't come back to pick her up. And she said, I'm going to Vegas to be a showgirl, and this little girl can be yours. That's really how it happened. And so Gary just realized the need for children that have been abandoned. And he felt called to step in and do really deep work around that. And so he came back to the Hill Country where his dad was and asked for his inheritance to be cashed in early to start this more or less an orphanage to help kids that didn't have anywhere to go. And it quickly grew. The community rallied around him. And that's really the story of how it started, was just the need. And God just kept providing.
Tell us about your work in marketing for the Youth Ranch. What are the types of things that you do on a day-to-day basis?
Thank you. So we are branding. So it was really what I saw as an opportunity of this 46-year legacy that Gary had started and really the future, right? A lot of things are just changing naturally in the world and marketing and all of the different kinds of needs. And so I was really able to step in and see all the different parts of here's this legacy, here's the vision, what kinds of things remain the same. And really what I found early on was the language around a family. We're a child care family. The staff have been there for 10, 20, 30 years. The board has been serving for just as long as Gary's been around. We have an amazing auxiliary for the past 45 years. So there's really this family dynamic that I saw. And so one of the first things that I got to work on was the messaging of who we actually are. And we came up with a title called, or tagline more so, of Welcome to the Family. Because that's really, if you're a volunteer, if you are a donor, if you have somebody that you want to place at the ranch, you're really coming into our family and learning about us. So we've launched a new website last year, which is now live, youth-ranch.org. That was under my leadership, as well as the colors and the energy. I really wanted to connect the heart of the ranch with a very practical and tangible communication strategy for people to learn about us. So that's been really a big priority for me, is getting materials and a structure in place to spread our message.
Do you have any initiatives for 2023 or even some ideas you'd like to try to put out there from the marketing perspective?
But first, I'd like to talk about, we have our marathon coming up April 1st, and it's our 5th year. So it's really a marathon, a half marathon, 12K, and a 5K race. It's a trail race. So it's not a typical, like, if you're a runner, it's not like a nice jog. Like, you got to watch the rocks, but it's gorgeous. I ran it last year. I did the 12K, and there's no cell service. So you're really that in that sweet spot of in this beautiful landscape. And just one more thing to talk about is the Youth Ranch has 3 different campuses. The first campus was in Ingram, the original campus. Our second campus is in Lakey, Texas, and we have 7,000 acres out there. So that's where the race takes place, in Lakey. So you just have this vast landscape of just greenery and trees. There's the Frio River flowing through, very relaxing. So that race is happening, and it's a big one for us because it's a chance to get people out to our campus, hearing about what we do, seeing our people, and just having a good time. It's also one of our biggest fundraisers of the year as well. So we get really committed runners to help us fundraise, and it's fantastic. So in terms of initiatives, though, I would say that we have our 2 big events, the marathon, as well as our Healing Hearts Auxiliary Luncheon that takes place in September every year. That is actually the oldest charity event in Kerrville, which is very impressive. I like the tradition and legacy. So that's incredible. And then I would say, just in terms of initiatives, we really are launching a spring series called an open house. And the idea is to invite people in the community who maybe haven't been out to the youth ranch and want to experience our campus and hear our mission. I found early on, when I started to hear, is people love the ranch. People love supporting it. They know we do great work out there, but not many people know what we actually do. And so it's really, I want people to really connect with who we are, see our campus, hear our mission, and find a way to partner. That's the initiative for this year.
Let me change the focus just a little bit.
Okay.
You mentioned that you grew up and went to college in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
What brought you to Kerrville and the Hill Country?
Tom, you want the short answer or the long answer?
We want the long answer.
Okay. How I say the short answer is the Lord, because truly I was looking for a stable, not scary environment. As many people know, big cities got hit really bad in the pandemic. So 2020 was not good for Chicago. There were riots, a lot of violence. I remember sitting outside having a nice dinner, and kids just ran on a patio. Kids just ran past me with Michael Kors stuff in their hands, and the cops were just like standing on the corner, and everyone was looking at the cops like, we can't do anything. And I was like, I have to get out of here. It was like Gotham City. And so I was really wanting just a different kind of environment. I had a friend who was from Bernie, who was working in Kerrville, and they wanted somebody to help them build out a fitness funnel, a marketing fitness funnel. And so in 17, I started doing fitness training on the side and personal development coaching. And so it was a great fit for me to come out and work on this with her. And I think, honestly, I just started visiting. First, there was a visit, then it was stay for winter. And then by the spring, I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I love it out here. It's still very novel to me, just seeing how beautiful the hill country is. So the long answer is, I just was looking for a peaceful environment and with really people aligned with my values. I found really on Texans in general are values oriented people. Whatever your beliefs are, political alignment, I feel that Texans have a pride. They have a legacy mindset. They're really thinking about their future, their families, and preserving that. And that felt really good to me. So I just felt like I came here and it fit. And a little plug in though, my family's from Tennessee, my mom, my aunts. So I grew up going to the South every year for reunions. People wave on a dirt road like you don't know them. I'm like, Mom, who is that? We don't know. Well, you're just waving. And I remember being in 5th grade saying y'all in my class. And people were like, y'all. I think I had the Southern in me. I didn't know it until I got here. But I'm a Southern girl in a big city. That's really what it came down to. So I felt like home when I got here.
Wow, that's great. You really focus on mind, body, spirit.
I do.
So I wanted to maybe ask you, talk about your, I don't want to say consulting, but your practices around that and how you've been able to use that not only to help others, but really to have a side gig going on that.
Yeah, I would say it's really important for me. I use the word alignment a lot. And for me, and I feel most people, I guess I would say this, like for all people, I feel like God first is the most important. And whatever that looks like to you, I think having an awareness outside of yourself for something bigger than yourself is really important. I think it keeps hope, it keeps faith, it helps foster a positive attitude, which I think is the most important. Having your mind in the right space before anything is crucial. And I feel it's really important that every day people show up in their fullness to impact people around them the best they can. And so you really have to have yourself aligned, which if you think about alignment, you're connected to God really, but really just the positivity flowing. And I personally feel the most aligned when I'm connected to God. I'm praying, I'm meditating, I'm staying positive to give that love out to other people. And really, we discuss fitness. You got to be moving your body. It's like super easy to get depressed and sad when you're sitting in front of a TV for 8 hours a day or even online for that long. And so just getting outside and having gratitude and exercise and breathing in fresh air is just so positive. I think it does a lot of things for your subconscious, even that gratitude, getting in nature, unplugging is just really important.
I've lived here for almost 2 years and I'm thankful every day I moved here. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. It's beautiful. We're really lucky to be here.
So unfortunately, we're near the end of our time for this episode, but before we
Really?
leave, I was wondering if anyone wanted to find out any more information on the Texas Hill Country Youth Ranch or your business or really any of the topics we've touched on, what would be the best places or places for them to go?
Say youth-ranch.org. There is an information button on there where you might be able to request a tour, connect with Wynita that way, or I'm on all the socials. So Facebook and Instagram, I am Wynita Yvonne, Yvonne. So message me there and we'll be in touch. Come out for a tour. I'd love to chat with everybody.
Wynita, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to visit with me, and I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure.
This is Tom Fox again. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Hill Country Podcast. If you'd like to find out more about podcasts or why your business needs a podcast, the founders of the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network will be putting on a lunch workshop on Friday, March 3rd. You can find out more information at the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network website. I hope you will join us for this informative workshop. The Hill Country Podcast is a production of the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network.